Stannis is easily one of the best characters in the A Song of Ice and Fire story. For me, he is a paradox, a ruler who embodies the principles of justice and competence, and yet who remains as one of the most divisive and disliked rulers in Westeros. As a fan of Stannis the Mannis, I genuinely believe that he would be the realm's best hope at achieving true justice and stability. But I also understand why so many readers, and even characters within the story, view him as a rigid and merciless tyrant who would probably make for a disastrous king. Stannis is not a charmer, nor is he an effective diplomat. He is humorless, unforgiving, and at times downright insufferable. Sometimes, even those that are closest to him struggle to tolerate him. Littlefinger sums it up quite well in A Game of Thrones, when he says, "Stannis is no friend of yours, nor of mine. Even his brothers can scarcely stomach him. The man is iron, hard and unyielding." Littlefinger points this out as a bad thing, a reason not to give Stannis the throne. But is he right to? Do these qualities really make Stannis Baratheon a terrible choice to be the king? For me, one of the strongest arguments for Stannis being a great king is that he has an unyielding sense of duty and justice. Unlike all the other rulers who bend the laws to suit their interests, Stannis follows the law to the T, enforcing justice without fear or favor, regardless of anyone's position in society.
This is the payment that was demanded by King Stannis for my crimes. I consider it an honest accounting.
Whether a person is a commoner or a high-born lord, Stannis would bring them to justice. Under his rule, the greedy and corrupt lords wouldn't stand a chance. It's actually precisely because of this unyielding approach to justice that so many scheming lords like Littlefinger and Tywin Lannister fear him. They know that if Stannis claimed the throne, their days of manipulation and misrule would be over. Stannis isn't playing the Game of Thrones to enrich himself or any of his allies. He's playing to restore order and uphold the laws of the realm, no matter the cost. In my opinion, this is one of the reasons why he would be such a great king, because he would be fair and truly just, and this would bring about real change for the Seven Kingdoms. For Stannis, taking the Iron Throne isn't about personal glory or excesses. It's about duty, the rule of law, and restoring order to the realm. Therefore, under his rule, the crown's gold might be spent on more meaningful things. It wouldn't be wasted on lavish tournaments and feasts like it was during Robert's reign. Instead, every coin would be used where it truly matters, rebuilding the economy, strengthening infrastructure, and making the government a lot more efficient than it currently is. Under Stannis' watch, things like the City Watch might actually be stronger and a lot more disciplined, protecting people rather than turning a blind eye to crimes. The small council would be a functioning group of dedicated politicians, serving their king for the betterment of the realm, rather than serving their own personal interests to improve their social positions. Things might actually work better because Stannis doesn't view kingship as a privilege to be exploited. He views it as a responsibility that must be taken seriously. Thus, Stannis would be a far more efficient ruler than Robert or Joffrey, focusing on restoring the realm rather than on satisfying his own personal indulgences. Stannis would also be respected and feared as a ruler, as he is a brilliant strategist and an experienced military commander on the battlefield. Lords would think twice to oppose him because he is one of the best generals in Westeros, a formidable foe that one wouldn't want to face on the field. Even during the War of the Five Kings, he puts fear into the hearts of powerful men like Tywin Lannister, leaving them worried about where he will strike next. In A Game of Thrones, Tywin tells Tyrion, "I have felt from the very beginning that Stannis was a greater danger than all the others combined." The fact that the mere thought of Stannis even gives the mighty Tywin Lannister pause speaks volumes about Stannis' strength as a ruler. He would be able to keep powerful lords in line and crush rebellions before they start. It's safe to assume that under his leadership, the Seven Kingdoms would likely be at peace. His strength would contribute to making him a good ruler for the realm. And yet, despite all of these good traits, so many people don't like Stannis. They can't even stomach the thought of him being their king. His own brother, Renly, says that he'd be a bad king and that people would never accept him as their liege. Renly says, "Let us be blunt, Lady Stark. Stannis would make an appalling king, nor is he like to become one. Men respect Stannis, even fear him, but precious few have ever loved him." But why is that? Why do people not like the thought of Stannis becoming their king? One of the biggest reasons why so many people in the story don't like the idea of Stannis becoming their king is mainly because the man is a terrible politician. Unlike his brother, Robert Baratheon, Stannis lacks the necessary charm, charisma, and cunning that makes rulers so popular, winning people over to their side. This is one of the things that Stannis himself actually envied about Robert, his ability to charm men and women and win them over to his side, turning even his bitter rivals into his most devoted allies. In A Storm of Swords, Stannis says, "My brother had a gift for inspiring loyalty, even in his foes. At Summerhall, he won 3 battles in a single day and brought Lords Grandison and Catherine back to Storm's End as prisoners. He hung their banners in the hall as trophies, yet they would sit beneath those banners of a night, drinking and feasting with Robert. He even took them hunting. My brother made them love him, but it would seem that I inspire only betrayal, even in mine own blood and kin." Stannis doesn't win men over with silver words or grand gestures. He demands loyalty through duty and discipline. That's why people don't really like him or want him to be their king, because he is too rigid and strict in his pursuit of justice. The fact that he follows the rules so rigidly makes him a nightmare for corrupt lords and schemers, but it also makes him a terrible player of the Game of Thrones. Stannis won't bend, he won't flatter, and he won't bribe. And these qualities might make him admirable to the reader, but it actually dooms him in a realm where power is built on alliances. Men don't follow him out of love, but out of obligation. And that's why so many would sooner stab him in the back than serve him at all. The fact that he doesn't inspire loyalty and devotion is not a good thing for him, and it could actually sour people's opinions of his rulership. Stannis could be seen as too harsh and too strict in his pursuit of justice, punishing people unfairly or going too far in his enforcement of the law. Take for example what he did to his own hand Davos Seaworth. When Stannis cut off Davos's fingers for smuggling, despite Davos saving him from starvation at Storm's End, it was the ultimate testament to his rigid sense of justice. On the one hand, it proves that Stannis doesn't play favorites. The law is the law, no matter the circumstances.
A good act does not wash out the bad, nor a bad the good.
To some people, this makes him admirably fair and principled as a leader, but to others, it might be interpreted differently. For other people, this is exactly why Stannis is so feared and unpopular, because he seemingly doesn't even reward loyal service with lands or titles. He rewards it with more justice, even when it hurts. Yes, Davos accepted this punishment with gratitude and understanding, but other people might not be so considerate after losing a hand or a few fingers. To them, Stannis' form of justice might be interpreted as cruelty, and this could lead to them being less inclined to follow him, let alone love him. And some of Stannis' actions might suggest that he would be more dangerous as time went on, using darker and more ominous means to stay in power. This might be due to the influence that Melisandre has over him, leading him to embrace a foreign religion where those that speak out against him are burned at the stake.
Please! You're my sister! Those are the stars that guide us.
If Stannis takes the throne, who's to say that he might not become more fanatical and extreme, burning loyal servants, or maybe even sacrificing his own kin? This would not be the mark of a great ruler. It would be the mark of a power-hungry and dangerous tyrant. It would mean that Stannis' rule would be too brutal, his methods too extreme for the Westerosi to stomach. If he ruled with an iron fist, it would turn even the common people against him, and his reign would be short and despised. It would make Stannis one of the worst kings who ever sat the Iron Throne, a king who wanted justice but had no mercy or limitations. So would Stannis be a good king for Westeros? That depends on what the Westerosi value in a ruler. If they want someone who would be just, competent, and disciplined, then Stannis would be a great king for the 7 kingdoms of Westeros. Stannis would restore order, eliminate corruption, and keep the realm in a state of relative peace as a result of his temperament. But if they wanted a king who was diplomatic, inspiring, and politically savvy, then Stannis would be a terrible choice to sit the Iron Throne. The fact that he is so rigid in his sense of justice and so extreme in the pursuit of it actually means that he is too harsh, and that does make him very unpopular amongst the people of the realm. His rulership would likely lead to more instability just as a result of that. Or maybe it wouldn't. What do you think? Would Stannis be a great king if he sat the Iron Throne? Let me know down below in the comments section. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for future content. Thank you so much for watching the video. Peace.